that down, let's talk about this, shall we? You know, Inside Out 2, as everybody already knows, is completely killing it at the box office. Its opening weekend is by far the biggest opening weekend of the year. It almost doubled the previous best opening weekend of 2024, which was Dune 2, nearly doubled that with $150+ million at the box office. Well, after just 9 days in theaters, Inside Out 2 has become the biggest movie of 2024. Let me repeat that. After just 9 days, Inside Out 2 became the #1 movie of 2024. Let's put it in perspective. Here are the biggest movies we've had in 2024 so far. We've had Planet of the Apes at number 5, making $381 million. Really like that movie, by the way. At number 4, Kung Fu Panda at $543 million, which was huge. I mean, one of the biggest of the franchise so far. I honestly thought they waited too long to do another Kung Fu Panda. I didn't think it would still be this big, and yet here we are, so good for them. At number 3, Godzilla x Kong, becoming the biggest film of the MonsterVerse at $567 million. At number 2, remember, these are after their full theatrical runs. Doom Part 2 was the #1 film of the year at the box office, making $711 million. And now, it's higher today than it is on this list, but the official numbers haven't come out. But after 9 days, Inside Out 2 hit $724 million to become the biggest film of the year. And we just finished its second weekend. And it is already the biggest film of the year, which answers a lot of questions. Pixar's done. The whole year the box office is down, even though Kung Fu Panda, one of the biggest in the franchise, Godzilla x Kong became the biggest of the franchise, Dune Part 2, obviously biggest of the franchise, Inside Out, one of the biggest animated openings of all time, the third biggest animated film opening of all time, and now this. But I want us to look at some more perspectives, because here's what's amazing. Inside Out 2, in its second weekend, after it takes, movies take a big drop, right, in their second weekend, of course. Inside Out 2 made $100 million in its second weekend. Here's why that's crazy. Because if we look at the biggest opening weekends of 2024, number 1, Inside Out 2 made $154 million on its opening weekend. In the number 2 spot was Dune Part 2 that made $82 million on its opening weekend, and Godzilla x Kong was in third place with an $80 million opening weekend. Here's the perspective. Inside Out second weekend would have been the number 1 opening weekend of the year. Think about that. Like, that is crazy that the second weekend of Inside Out 2, $100 million, would by itself have been the biggest opening weekend of the year. And it's its second weekend. It took between a 31 to 35% drop. That is insane. Movies that make over $100 million in their opening weekend will often make over a 60% drop because they're already so big. So many people went to go see them. This thing only took a 30 to 35% drop in its second weekend. That tells us a couple things. 1, massive repeat viewing. 2, people are getting other people to come out and see it. 3, word of mouth is clearly strong because this thing is doing huge. But I also want us to look at its context in all of history. Because in all of history, Inside Out 2's second weekend is one of the top 10 biggest second weekends ever in Hollywood history. Let's take a look at this. For second weekends, at number 1, the biggest second weekend in history was Star Wars Episode 7 at $149 million. Avengers Endgame is the second biggest of all time at $147. Number 3, Avengers Infinity War at $114. Black Panther at number 4 with $111. Jurassic World at number 5 with $106 million. The first Avengers movie is the 6th biggest second weekend in history with $103 million. Inside Out 2 at $100 million in its seventh weekend, or in its second weekend. Not only is the seventh biggest second weekend in history, only behind films called Star Wars Avengers and A Black Panther World and a movie about dinosaurs. Seventh ever, it is the biggest second weekend in the history of animated film, including the CGI Lion King. The biggest second weekend for an animated film ever. It's when you look at the context of things like this that it becomes incredibly impressive. Mm-hmm. Incredibly impressive. Here's the scary thing. It's going to have a big third weekend too. Because opening up this week is one of my more highly anticipated films of the year, Quiet Place Day One. Very excited about it. But you know who's not going to go see Quiet Place Day One? A lot of families. A lot of families ain't going. Families going to the movies this weekend are probably going to go see Inside Out 2. I think it's got a very clear path right now to joining the $1 billion club and becoming the first $1 billion film of the year. And here's another scary thing. In just a couple of weeks, another animated behemoth is coming down the pipe. Despicable Me 4 is coming. And some people believe it's going to be a bigger film than Inside Out 2. So we've got two potential $1 billion films coming back to back in many ways. I mean, again, this is just crazy. And you know what? Here's the best part about it. The best part about it is that it couldn't happen to a nicer movie. It's not like this is like one of those Transformers movies that was god awful but made $1 billion. No, this is a movie that is truly wonderful, truly emotional, has wonderful characters, wonderful story, and it makes you leave the theater feeling, you know? And I love it when we get to see truly exceptional movies have truly exceptional results, because it doesn't always happen, and I'm super glad that it's happening for Inside Out 2. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. When they arrived at our house, my wife Ann loved the feel of them so much, she couldn't even wait for me to get home to put them on our bed. Miracle Made has self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. Miracle Sheets also have incredible comfort and quality. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to TryMiracle, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you will get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to TryMiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Biggest weekend of the year, biggest second weekend of the year, 7th biggest weekend of all time, biggest second weekend of all time for any animated film. The line of accolades and medals this movie is collecting is incredible. How big do you think it can get? What's the ceiling? 900 million, a billion, 1.2 billion? I don't know. How big do you think this thing gets? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.